Good morning, sir.
Hello, Bhavna.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Wait for our Dr. T.S. Sridhar, retired Chief Secretary. He will be on screen. Yeah, he is there.
Bhavna, we have Sri Sridhar IAS, Sri Jawahar IAS, and Professor Lata ma'am, who is a expert in criminology. You can start wishing them, and the mock will start.
Welcome, Bhavna.
Good afternoon, sir and ma'am.
Bhavna, yes, welcome. Good
Thank you,
afternoon.
sir.
Kindly introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. So my name is Bhavna Kumari. I come from Devghar district in Jharkhand. I have completed my graduation and post-graduation in English literature from Sidhu Kanu Murmu University, Dumka. And this is my first attempt at UPSC.
Okay, something more about yourself, your personality.
So as regards my personality, I would say that coming from a semi-urban area and having pursued my dreams up to this extent, it itself speaks about my determination and perseverance. Also, I would like to say that I just love every experience of my life, whether it is good or bad, because it always leaves you stronger than what you were before.
Okay. You mentioned in your DAP that you represent the EWS. Can you tell
Yes.
us what it is?
So it is the economically weaker section. Recently, the 103rd Amendment Act has come up, which provided 10% reservation for the economically backward sections. And it is for all the public institutions as well as in public jobs.
Okay. Yeah. Right. You've done your graduation in
English literature.
English literature. Do you have any plans of doing post-graduation?
So I have done my post-graduation.
Oh, you've done your post-graduation. Is it a combined program? I didn't see that. Okay.
No, sir, it was not combined, but I did it.
It is BA and MA.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay.
Honor.
Any particular reason why you wanted to do the civil services exam?
So first of all, it was my childhood dream. Second of it is that coming from this area, I've always seen people struggling in their life. There are many problems like lack of education, lack of health facility, basic sanitation facilities. So I always wanted to be in a position where I could help the people.
Good. Tell us something about the socio-economic condition of people in Bihar, Jharkhand area.
So the Jharkhand region was formed in 2000, and after that it has developed much in the social region, like the poverty indices of Jharkhand. It has decreased from 72% to 46%, but still now people lag behind in human development indexes, like education. The literacy rate of Jharkhand is 67%. And as regards the health sector, the infant mortality and maternal mortality rate of Jharkhand is below the national average. But then also there are issues like low child sex ratio in some of the districts of Jharkhand, and there's a lack of proper hygiene and sanitation facilities in this area.
So what do you think you will do in case you're posted to one of these districts?
So my first preference would be to the health indices. A lot has been done, like the Anganwadi workers and the ASHA workers. They have been deployed, but proper infrastructure has not been provided up to the ground level. So first thing would be to work on the ground level infrastructure. The second would be the sanitation and hygiene program, like the schemes of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and other schemes would be implemented in letter and spirit. Also, there would be education of women, because the education of women is always necessary for improving the health and educational outcomes of the whole family.
Have you heard of the term delimitation?
Yes, sir.
What is that exercise going on now?
So delimitation exercise is for the reallocation of the assembly seats and the parliament seats which a state has. It is going on in Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh, and in the northeastern states.
So what happens after that?
So after that, a state gets a particular share of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha seats, and also the assembly seats. And also reservation for SC and STs are provided in respect of their population.
Okay. After the formation of Jharkhand, has there been any improvement in the socio-economic conditions of the people?
Yes, sir. As regards the formation in 2000, the education and literacy rate of tribals was only 40%, but now it has increased to 57%. Also in the literacy rate of the overall population, it has increased by 12 percentage points. And in the poverty also, Jharkhand has reduced its multidimensional poverty from 76% to 42% in that 20 years gap.
A number of new schemes have been introduced by Government of India recently, the last 5-7 years or more. Are those schemes under implementation in Jharkhand and are they doing well?
Yes, sir. So there are many schemes, and one of the most successful scheme I would say is Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, because even in my area there were many who lived in wood in houses which were made up of mud, but now everyone has a pakka house here. Also, the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has also worked. There have been it has become ODF, and also in the constructions of the schools and all, there have been new schools and new infrastructure in schools. As regards the women status, there have been certain improvement in the anemia rate and also in the mortality rates, because there have been Anganwadi workers deployed in every villages, and also in the increase of improvement through the ICDS scheme.
Good. Right, Mr. Jawahar, please take over.
Yes, sir.
Good, well done.
Bhavna,
Yes, sir.
what is your name? What is the significance of your name?
So my name means feelings and emotions.
Pardon?
Feelings and emotions.
Oh, good. Very good. So you want to tell something about who named you, what you are happy with it. When we ask for a name.
Sir, this name Bhavna was given by my mother. She
Yes.
always wanted a girl child, and she was very happy when I was born. So she gave me two names. One is Bhavna, that is feelings and emotions, and other is Payal, which is anklet, because it is said that a girl child always brings joy in the home. So
Yes.
these two names are given by my mother.
Lovely explanation. You should not have any hesitation to add it. So that is
Good,
how a
good.
conversation goes about. All along, you have been going on giving a textual explanation. It is a conversation, right? It's good. It comes from your heart. It will immediately touch the other person's heart. Right? You studied in St. Francis School. Who is this St. Francis?
So Saint Francis was a saint who was born in Assisi in Italy. He was canonized in 1228, and
Yes.
he is said to be the patron saint of birds and ecology. Also, he has founded the Franciscan Clarist Congregation and Clare Order for Women.
What is canonization?
So in Christian thing, there is a canonization in which a person after his death is said to be blessed and venerated, and it is given by the church in Rome.
Sainthood.
Yes, sir.
Sainthood is given to them, right? For the service they have rendered or for the miracles they have done. There is a kind of a system, that is why it's called the canonization. Very well answered. And I could see you studied at R.D. Bajla Mahila College,
Yes,
Devdar,
sir.
right? It should be pronounced as Devdar, right?
Yes, sir.
Devdar, right. What is this R.D. Mahila?
So it is
R.D.
Ramadevi.
Bajla.
So it is Ramadevi Bajla Mahila College. It is named after Ramadevi Bajla, who has given the land and also provided financial support for the education of the women of this area.
Yeah, very good. Recently, I have been hearing about Salwar Judum in the news.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me something about this Salwar Judum?
So Salma Judum was formed in Chhattisgarh. This was formed to curb the Naxalism movement, which was very rampant in this area. It is led by the villagers of the area, but the problem is that it has come in human right violation, because these people have exercised their power in excess of their limitations. So it has been banned now.
The Salwar Judum has become a part of the government agency, or they were operating as a counter-terrorist?
So it was a part of the government. In fact,
that is the most important thing. You have to tell them, because those villagers who were against the terrorists or separatists, they have been inducted into the police force as a special police officer, SPO, special police officer. Then the Supreme Court came very heavily down upon them, saying that you are dividing the people on different things. So policing is based on law and order, right? Rule of law. It is not that pitting one against the other. That is what the very interesting judgment when you read about this Salwar Judum, right? And what are still the separatists or the other groups are prevalent in Jharkhand?
So Naxalism has come down from its level of 2000 as it was in Jharkhand, but still it is prevalent in some of the districts. Like the 16 districts come under red corridor. However, the violent incidents which have happened in the past 3 years, they have decreased to a great extent. And it is because the Naxalists have lost public support.
Yeah. A lot of public support, right?
Yes, sir.
Do they have? Why public like, or why the Naxals or separatists have support from the public?
So it was mainly because of the tribal identity, because the tribals felt that their land were being taken away by the government, and also they were apprehensive that when industrialization will come, they will be rehabilitated, replaced from this area. So they just played upon those feelings. But now with the government giving upon some acts like the CNT and SPT Act, also the PESA and Forest Right Acts have come out. So they have lost the public support in recent time, and they are mainly extortionist in movement now, right now.
Very good. So basically, what you'll have to drive home the point is that lack of development in the area and lack of people faith in the governance and the government. We have to openly admit that. That is led to this kind of falling in the trap of people who promise, wonderlands. They promise all these things. That is why they become. It is not merely because of the tribals, because tribal groups are highly intelligent groups. They have their own traditional knowledge. Well, coming to this point, how these Naxals are themselves, they don't have any advantage, right? They want to serve the people. Then why should we exterminate Naxalism?
Sorry, sir, I could not hear the last part.
Yeah, why should we exterminate Naxalism?
So the ideology of Naxalism is good, that they want to promote development, but the way they have pursued that is bad. That is, they have taken root of violence, and also they have rejected all the constitutional authority. They refuse to recognize the law and order of the place. So it is not only the end, but also the means to the end.
As a matter of fact, Naxalism, if you go to it, because you would have studied about internal security of India, right? As a subject, you would have studied, you will understand it is not only just separatism, but they do not believe in rule of law. They do not believe in constitutional democracy, right? And at the most, what they want is they want to create their own kind of a rule in a particular area. That is how people have now started realizing. The government also started doing and development side. The two sides, when they are doing it, Naxalism, there is no scope for Naxals to thrive. So that is why I said extermination of Naxalism through legal means, not by creating another. Fine. Now, can you tell me what is your hobby?
So my hobby is teaching children.
Teaching children. So two things. Teaching is easier. Teaching children is very difficult. And what are your challenges in teaching children?
So first off thing is that for the time period I teach, it is very difficult for children to concentrate regularly for 1 hour. So I have to do something in between to make them tell a story or a joke so that they are engrossed in it. And in this online period, that has become a far more difficult thing, because in teaching maths or physics, I always come up with some live examples and demonstrations. But this is lacking in online education. So this also has become a problem.
Very good. Fine. And you studied the literature.
Yes.
Literature is your option, right? English
Yes.
literature. Can you tell me some English literature that attracted you? Maybe a poem or a novel that attracted you?
So I personally like the works of Jane Austen. The novels of Jane Austen I like most, and also the poems of William Wordsworth. These two are because, first of all, Jane Austen, because she writes social novels and she always writes about the real life situations and characters. And with that, she intends to bring about a silent revolution.
Can you mention some English writers from India?
Yes, sir. So in the recent time, there are writers like Amitav Ghosh, Arundhati Roy, Vikram Seth, Salman Rushdie. And in the earlier times, there were many famous writers like Rabindranath Tagore, Toru Dutt, Sarojini Naidu, H.L.V. Durozio, and the famous trio.
Neeraj Chowdhury.
Yes, sir.
Ruskin Bond.
Yes, sir.
They're all very popular, when you are talking about literature, because this is how, our mind goes. We have something in mind. So when
Yes.
it comes from you, we are very happy about it. Okay, fine. Then recently, Lakshadweep, they are having a lot of problems. What is this problem about in Lakshadweep?
So in Lakshadweep, the governor has come out with a new set of regulations.
He is not a
which-
governor, he is an administrator.
Sorry, yes, sir. So administrator, sorry, sir. So the administrator has come out with a set of regulations, and that regulations impinge upon the development of upon the beliefs and ideas of the people, because they want to transform Lakshadweep into a like on the lines of Maldives.
Yes.
But that will be impinging on the development and ecology of that area.
Yes.
Also, he is putting a ban on beef, which is very much important for their local culture, and it is a local cuisine. And also there were certain guidelines for COVID, that the person need not have a negative certificate for coming there, and this has led to an increase in cases in that area.
Good. Now you have come out with all the problem. One thing you didn't tell is that introduction of liquor, right?
Okay, yes, I have
They are
got that.
removing, now it is only one Bangaram Island alone, it is allowed for a tourist purpose. But now it will be kind of open to all the places. We do not know what kind of problems will come. So there are problems, there are people with two children, above two children, they cannot contest for the local body election.
Yes.
So all these things put them, there's a feeling of segregation, or the people feel that outsiders are going to come and dominate. But normally, islands play a vital role, both in tourism and strategic protection of a country. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In that case, using this island for tourism is no sin. As an administrator, suppose I send you there to pacify people. How will you handle the situation?
So first of all, I would not like to change the the people's customs and culture of that area, because that is very much important, and that if we are impinging on it, that breaks the trust between the government and the people. So first of all, I would not do that. Second, whatever things
You straight away say food preference is their basic right, fundamental right.
Yes.
So I won't
Yes.
touch about this.
Yes, sir.
Next.
And then about development and infrastructure development, I would ensure that minimum environmental damage takes place. And if there is any, then the EIA amendment, whatever is there, the proper reforestation of that area, that will be taken place. And the third would be the involvement of the locals in the tourism industry, so that they also get a benefit out of it.
Okay. You have to also, educate people that ecotourism management, it will automatically, nature itself cannot be protected, simply leaving it as it is. There can be more, what is called pollution-free management. You can also ensure that there are proper, the coral reefs are properly maintained. So tourism also can be developed for people life, because there is a kind of always, first we'll have to say, talk to the stakeholders, local people, get them convinced. Unless you convince them, you cannot carry forward. Well, I come to UP, we have what is called the child control policy or child control bill is being brought up. Population control bill is being brought up in UP. Will it affect the demographic figure of women in that state?
So this bill is being brought because the total fertility rate of UP is much higher than the rest of India.
Yes.
So, but the concerns about this bill is that it will lead to more female infanticide. Also, it will lead to divorce rate increasing and the abandonment of women, because everyone will be eyeing for only 2 children, and they have a preference for son in this area. So this is a problem. And then women, the more preferred way out, according to me, would be to educate the women, because that is the only way forward in controlling population.
Good. No coercion, but more socio-economic development.
Yes.
In industrial state, nowhere it has been done. You can see the southern states which are doing far well. What their achievement, we achieved 1.7 fertility rate already been achieved. That is slated for 2041. And it's been done by Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Telangana. Then it is only the certain states which have some problem, right? The controlling is not an issue, right? It may be a lopsided development come, where you will have more boy child, less girl child. Nature's segregation will not be there. So you can tell as a women candidate, you can explain that in detail. Right. Well, now the last question. You have Myanmar is in a lot of problems. What is the problem in Myanmar?
In Myanmar, a coup has taken place wherein the army has deposed the democratically elected government led by Aung San Suu Kyi, and they have taken over the control of the state. But the problem is that the people is not liking this dictatorship, and they are opposing it, and this has led to a violence in that area, and many people are being killed also.
India has not raised any voice against them, against the government. Of course, such question will not be asked in UPSC, but I'm just trying to find out from you. Why?
Sir, India has said that it stands for the democratically elected government, and it stands for restoration of democracy. And also it has supported the ASEAN consensus on this issue. As regard why it is still engaging with the army, it is more because of our national interest, because the security of Northeast region is in danger, and also the influence of China can increase if India withdraws from there.
Very good. So basically, any country, the first is its own safety, right? We cannot straight away interfere, send army, send them. We don't say the military junta is wrong. So that will be creating quite a lot of problems. So diplomatic relationship and our strategic importance is most important. Well, the last question, Aung San Suu Kyi, I was little upset with her, despite her Nobel, she won the Nobel Prize for one particular reason. Can you imagine what could be the reason?
Yes, sir. So the reason was that in International Court of Justice, there was a case about the Rohingyas. And
that's it. Yeah, that's
and she has gone there to defend the army on the Rohingya persecution. And this has led to many protests and also to revoke the Nobel Prize given to her.
Yeah. Very good. Fine. Ma'am?
Hi, Bhavna.
Hi, ma'am.
How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, ma'am.
Good. It's nice to have you here among us today. You basically mentioned that your hobby is teaching children, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, why do you choose this hobby among hobbies?
So, ma'am, this is not merely
See, normally women will say like gardening or kitchen.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in this, I would say that I have chosen this because I have been teaching children for a long time. Since I have completed my class 10, I have been teaching them. So it has become a part of my life, and also I enjoy this process. As regard the other thing like gardening and cooking, I'm very bad at cooking, so I cannot put that. And in gardening, I love to be in contact with nature. But since my UPSC preparation, I have not been able to consistently do it. So I have not mentioned it.
So what do you normally teach the children?
Now I teach all the subjects, basically maths and science. And if they have problem in other subjects, then I'm open to taking on that.
Okay. So like to teach children, there is a kind of pedagogy which is actually required, right? See, there are some differences between pedagogy and andragogy, right? So like what are the major differences you feel that is essential between these two?
Ma'am, for teaching children, the major thing is that one need to be very patient because the children are not very much embroiled in studies and they don't enjoy this process as much as the adults can understand it. So this has become a problem. As regards the basic difference, I'm not sure of the exact difference.
Okay. So what are the various rights of children in India?
Ma'am, the rights to, first of all, right to education, which have been passed in 2009. It provides basic education for children from 6 to 14 years of age. It is free and compulsory education.
Is it the first right of a child? Is right to education is the first right of a child?
Sorry, ma'am, I don't know this.
Okay, now you go ahead and list out the rights of the children in India.
This is the first right. Second, I would say is the Juvenile Protection Bill, which provides a right to the children to live with dignity. And if they have any issues, then they can report on that. And ma'am, I would like to mention one right, that is for the female infanticide, there has been a certain bill passed on it. And so it is the right to life of a child, which is the most important thing.
Okay, but what is it our constitution is trying to give for the children? what are the various rights which our constitution is giving apart from right to education? Do you think that any other right which our constitution is giving for the children?
A right to proper nutrition, which is provided in the directive principles also. And sorry, ma'am, I'm able to recollect only one.
Okay, so you accidentally mentioned about juvenile protection bill, right?
Yes.
Is there anything called juvenile protection bill?
Ma'am, it is juvenile protection. Juvenile cell centers have been set up. Also, there is juvenile justice care. Ma'am, I'm forgetting the name of this act, but there is a particular act for it.
Yeah, that is Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act. There's no bill. What is the difference between bill and act?
Ma'am, a bill is in the process of being passed by the parliament. It has not yet received the assent of the president, and an act has received that.
Okay, so that is an act and it's not a bill. It is Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Bill, which says, see, not only a juvenile, but any human being, according to our constitution, has a has a right to live dignifiedly. Okay, so that is it. Fine. Okay, so having spoken about the rights of children, and what are the major rights of women in India?
Ma'am, the rights of women, first of all, it is the right which every citizen have, like the fundamental rights. And in specific, there in fundamental duties, there is a specific duty of every individual to respect women and to avoid any derogatory practices for women.
No, I'm not asking about the duty. I'm asking about specific rights for women in India.
Sorry, ma'am, I'm not able to recollect.
Okay, one of the rights I can say, like maybe equal wages for men and women.
Yes, ma'am. Then I remembered one more. There is a proper work condition and maternity leave for the women.
And also, how about property rights?
Yes, ma'am. Property rights has been given to women.
What is the status of right to property for women in India?
Ma'am, recently in Supreme Court judgment, Supreme Court has said that a woman is an equal co-parsoner and she would get the ancestral property no matter whether her father was alive when the act was passed.
Okay, so what if there is a violation against what is provided in the Supreme Court judgment, like if a woman is denied an equal right in property, so what would be the next step the woman can take it up?
Ma'am, she can file a case in the courts.
Okay. So like if given an opportunity as an administrator, what are the two major issues relating to women which you will address immediately?
Ma'am, first will be the education of women, because the literacy rate of women at all over India is lagging behind the male literacy rate. The second would be the gender sensitization, because no matter what education we provide, as long as we continue this patriarchal mindset, the condition of women will not improve. So for that, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Abhiyan was a very good step.
Okay, why is that? See, the government is announcing a lot of schemes, right? Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, like you have got a lot of schemes relating to women, and every government is giving a lot of schemes for women to improve the education among women. For example, in Tamil Nadu, like we have got a lot of giving of free cycles, free laptop, and note fee or whatever be. We have a lot of such leverages and schemes for educating women. Despite all these things, see, can you say that the government is lacking in, educating women, or what is the problem behind this particular issue of not reaching a proper percentage of women education in India?
Ma'am, in this, I would say that patriarchal mindset is the first thing, because it is a common notion in the society that women should not be educated beyond a certain level. So first of all, this is the problem. Second is the marriage of the women, that after marriage, she is not allowed to work. She is not allowed to pursue her dreams. So they have also stopped their education. And also in my area, I would say there is a lack in skill education of women, because even after getting education, they are not being able to be employed in certain remunerative jobs. So this also act as a hindrance in her education.
Okay, so if you're asked to design some skill development programs for women in your area, in Jharkhand, so what are the at least top 3 skills you will choose to provide it to them or to support them?
Ma'am, as this area is dominated by tribal, so first scheme of women for this area, I would say would be minor forest produce relating to that. whatever we can add the value on it, and also the formation of self-help groups regarding to that. Secondly, the skill education would be provided at the college level. In that, in literature and all the humanities subject, I would say that we can provide a language skill so that they language and IT skills so that they can be employed in the BPO and the other sectors which are booming in this area. And the third would be that they could be provided industrial skills in like working for the MSMEs. The MSMEs have a huge potential both in labor intensive and capital intensive. So they could be provided this skills and they could be employed in certain areas. Like a very good example is that in Ranchi there has been a MSME setup for the crushing of the limestone, and here only women have been employed. So I would work towards that. These three things.
Okay. Can you name two famous women personalities from India who had actually impressed you and why they have impressed you?
Ma'am, first of all, I would say that recently one woman from Jharkhand, Mrs. Deepika Kumari, she has won recently 3 gold medals in archery. Despite coming from such a humble background and facing so many difficulties, she has reached to world #1 position. So first would be she, and the second would be MC Mary Kom, because despite her maternity, despite she having 2 children, she has achieved the world championship 3 times, and also in current Olympics, she is representing our nation.
Okay. So I will say that you will be a better teacher than an administrator. So what is your stand on this?
Ma'am, yes, teaching, I like teaching, but I also believe in improving the life of the people. And as an administrator, my scope would be much wider than what I would have as a teacher. So I have chosen administration.
Thank you, Bhavana. It's nice interacting with you. So over to Dr. Sridhar sir.
Yeah. Well, Bhavana, that was wonderful interacting with you. Incidentally, I have been. Hello.
Yes, sir.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
There's the screen. The screen was
Yeah,
off.
we are able to hear.
I've been to Devghar also as part of my election duty. I came to Bihar and then to Jharkhand. Devghar, nice place, very nice. For a few points about the interaction. Well, you are very cheerful, very confident. Your demeanor is very pleasing, and expression is excellent. And all your answers have been very crisp and clear. And your command of the language is good. And knowledge of subjects also is quite clear and in depth. So overall, I think you stand a very good chance of getting through to the final stage after the interview, and I'm sure you will do very well. Of course, you've been a good teacher, so you speak very well, but a teacher can always be a good administrator. In fact, I started off as a teacher in my college, so that's a plus point. You can also, wherever you go, you can also deliver talks and lectures and all that, and generally educate people and create awareness among them. That's good. Overall, you've done exceedingly well, and I'm sure you will do very well in the interview also. All the best to you. Do well. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
In addition to what the chairman said, I would request you, because Bhavana Kumari, you are absolutely good. Because I could say, initially you started giving factual replies. Then you changed over to what you call, like you speak like a civil servant. Not that everybody knows everything. There is no need necessary. We go on learning. Learning, as you know, as a teacher, it's a process, a never-ending process. That way you have come out from this thing. I am very happy about it. So kindly keep the same trend. Even somebody push you back, come out again and be in the same mode, like being a civil servant, right? Don't never be in a kind of what you call a student or something like that. So we want somebody who will be suitable. The suitability is being expected. With this kind of a performance, I hope you can get somewhere around 200. You can. Then you can be missing. Because see, I'm getting you are getting applaud from Dr. P.S. Sridhar, one of the very outstanding civil servants in Tamil Nadu, right? So what I expect you is that do more practice. Do more practice. And particularly get to know of what is the women's safety in India. The child rights. Go to the international convention. Take down 2-3 points. I always believe in keywords and bullet points. Where there is a need, just use the keyword bullet point. Then Visakha guideline. Don't read all the 20 pages. Have an executive summary, 2-3 important points. By the time they'll stop you, which means enough. We know about you, that you know it. Then you go to the next subject. Like, international level, we have been discussed. I'm very happy with your, Myanmar reply, because many people do not catch that point. They go somewhere. But this is how you have to impress people. And your communication skill, as Sir said, is extremely good. Because we have been coming across a number of people. You have, because we do have our own plus and minuses. So kindly enhance your knowledge. That always requires to be enhanced. But as regard to your attitude, your communication level are very good. You should go for some one-on-one program, one-to-one program. So there you can hone up further your skills. You can get your doubts cleared in such a session. Otherwise, it is really fantastic. I wish you all the best. You will definitely become successful.
Thank you, sir.
Bhavna,
Yes.
overall, it was a very good performance. And did you, are you undergoing coaching with some other institution?
Not presently, ma'am.
Not presently. Okay, because some of the answers were like, one or two answers in the beginning were little stereotype. For example, like what made you to become, choose civil service? I think Dr. Sridhar sir addressed this question, and your answer was, that is my childhood dream. So that's a standard answer. Maybe that may be true too. We don't know, but that's a kind of standard answer. So like try to look into all those. So prepare answer for these questions. And then like I could see that overall you performed really well. Your modulation was very good. Your language is very, very perfect. And your presentation of answers for various questions was really good. Really good. But what difference I saw is your answers are precise, good, and convincing to those questions which you expected. Okay, but to the unexpected questions, I could see like a kind of little stumbling. You may not be knowing the answer, but you can try it. Give it in a very short and precise manner based on your information which is getting fed in your mind, or you can take a pass. Be prepared for even unexpected questions. So that is one thing which I thought I should share with you. And see, it is, you have given a clue that teaching children is your passion. So you have given a clue of word like children. And a pretty woman sitting before me, I would like to ask more questions about children. So that may be some attitude of the board members too. So like, please be, right to education is of course a child's right. But before that, right for nutritious food, right for family, right for a name is very important, right? Okay. So try to understand the basic needs of children, basic rights of women, and issues relating to women and children, apart from whatever you feel is important relating to current affairs. So this is what is a suggestion which I wanted to really give. Otherwise, you look very perfect. You have a very fair chance to get through this interview, and happy to see you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
All right.